Hello class 6. Welcome back to the second semester. Hope you had enjoyed your first semester having online classes and offline together. So now we are back after a long break and here we are beginning with our seventh unit of your Gulmohars. So you can see here the name of the chapter, Matilda Can Do Magic. It means some kind of magic is there. We are going to enjoy the chapter. We are going to enjoy the magic here. Some kind of magic done by a student of your age. Let's see how the magic was done. We don't know. So here, the writer of the poem of the story, Roald Dahl. He was a British fighter pilot of Norwegian descent. So he was a British fighter pilot, and he is famous for writing stories, books, and poems for children. So besides flying the fighter planes, he used to write certain stories, books, and poems also for the children. His stories often feature brave children who go against evil adults and overcome all sorts of trouble. So he used to write the stories about those children, those who were brave, and the children, those who go against the adults who were not right, wrong adults के against जाकर के the children, those who used to overcome all the sorts of troubles in their lives. And some of his famous works are Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, and The Witches, among others. So these are some of his works. So here we begin with a story written by him about Matilda, a bright girl. She was a fortunate girl, but her parents would rather, instead of she was intelligent, but all the time her parents found her watching television than reading a book. So what your parents also say, your parents generally say, okay, do your work. All the time I see you watching the TV, all the time you are found playing, you don't study at all. कभी कोई book तो read कर लिया करो. So your parents, they say like this to you people. Many a times I've seen. So children, they are also right because they want you to be good readers. But some of the children, they have extraordinary qualities which overcome all these things. जो parents की expectation से कहीं ज़्यादा होती हैं. So this is a story about a girl, Matilda Wormwood. She is a bright, intelligent and gifted child, but unfortunately, the girl is very bright, intelligent and a gifted child. But unfortunately, her parents would rather have her watch her the television than read a book. Means parents अक्सर उसको क्या देखते थे? She used to watch the television rather reading a book. They wanted her to read the books, her study, but she wasn't doing that. Her teacher, Miss Honey, recognizes her brilliance and tries to help Matilda learn more, but both her parents and the headmistress, Miss Trunchbull, refuse to allow her to do so. So there is a person in your life who understands you, होता है हमेशा, who understands that child, but the others, they cannot. Similarly here, Matilda, here's the case of Matilda. Her teacher, Miss Honey, she recognizes her brilliance, she recognizes her qualities, but her parents and her headmistress, they could not recognize her qualities. Her headmistress, Miss Trunchbull, and her parents, they refused Miss Honey to help Matilda. राइट. हेल्प मीन्स उसको सपोर्ट करने के लिए मना कर दिया कि you're not to support her. So you might have seen the movie also, that Tare Zameen Par, in which Amir Khan, he recognized the qualities of that child, but even his parents as well as the school authorities and the principal, they could not recognize his qualities. But here Miss Honey could recognize the qualities of Matilda, but her parents as well as the principal, they could not recognize her. Similarly, one day when Miss Trunchbull visits the class and finds a newt in her glass of water, she accuses Matilda of playing a prank on her and threatens her to expel her. What happened? One day, Miss Trunchbull, the headmistress, she visits Matilda's classroom, and there she finds that you can see in the picture also that when she sat on the chair at the desk, there was a glass of water kept on the table, and you can see this creature. Can you see this creature here? Yes, this is a newt. So when she visited her classroom, she found a newt in her glass of water. Table पर पड़ा हुआ जो glass था, she found that there was a newt in her glass of water, and then she accused मतलब एकदम से उन्होंने बोला कि Matilda, this must be your mischief. तुमने ही किया होगा. This must be a prank played by you. तुम ही ने ये मजाक किया है. And then she threatened her. बोली कि I will expel you. मैं तुम्हें स्कूल से निकाल दूंगी. Suddenly, the glass of water falls over and the newt lands on Miss Trunchbull, who is now angrier than ever. अब जब उन्होंने ग्लास में न्यूट को देखा तो she scolded Matilda and threatened her to expel the school. Right? But the very next moment, what happened? The glass falls over. Glass उलट जाता है and the newt lands on Miss Trunchbull's arms. You can see in the picture also here. जो न्यूट है वो यहाँ चढ़ जाता है वहाँ से निकलकर. अब क्या हुआ? अब तो मिस ट्रंचबुल को और भी ज़्यादा गुस्सा आ गया. Everyone has seen that Matilda has not even moved from her seat. Then how did the glass fall? अब सबने देखा कि Matilda तो अपनी चेयर से उठी भी नहीं है, सीट से उठी भी नहीं है. फिर ये ग्लास जो है ये गिर कैसे गया? Everybody was surprised to see this thing. Now, Matilda did not join the rush to get out of the classroom. अब सब लोग क्या हैं? क्लासरूम से बाहर भाग गए. But Matilda stayed in the classroom only. After the other children had all disappeared, she remained at her desk, quiet and thoughtful. She knew she had to tell. So, सब लोग बाहर चले जाते हैं. All the children have gone out. She is there in the classroom at her desk only. She was quiet and thoughtful. She had to tell something to her teacher. Who was the teacher? The teacher was Miss Honey, to whom she wanted to tell something. Now, she had to tell somebody about what happened with the glass. She couldn't possibly keep a gigantic secret like that bottled up inside her. Now, she wanted to tell this thing to somebody, because she did not even move from her seat, and how the glass toppled over. Glass कैसे गिर गया? She had to tell it to somebody, because she couldn't keep a gigantic, means a huge secret in her heart. ये secret वो अपने तक नहीं रख सकती थी. She wanted to tell it to somebody. What she needed was just one person. one wise and sympathetic grown-up who could help her to understand the meaning of this extraordinary happening. Now, she wanted a person कि जिसको she could tell, right? She wanted to tell the secret to somebody who would not make fun of her, who would understand her, and who would make her even understand how this extraordinary thing happened, जो उसको समझा सके, जो उसको समझ भी सके rather. Neither her mother nor her father would be of any use, for they would not believe her, nor realize what an astounding event had taken place in the classroom that afternoon. अब उसको लगा ना तो मम्मा को बता सकती हूँ ना मैं पापा को बता सकती हूँ, because they will not believe her. उसके ऊपर विश्वास ही नहीं करेंगे, right? Nor they will even listen to her. सुनेंगे भी नहीं कि ऐसा कोई surprising सा event, astounding सा event उसकी क्लास में हुआ था. They will not even believe her. On this spur of the moment, at this, suddenly what happened? Matilda decided that one person she would like to confide in was Miss Honey. उसे लगा कि only एक person है, only one person is there whom she can confide. Confide means जिसको वो अपने confidence में ले सकती है. Matilda and Miss Honey were now the only two left in the classroom. Now who were there in the classroom? Only Matilda and Miss Honey. Miss Honey had seated herself at her table and was riffling through some papers. क्या है? Miss Honey was there in the classroom and Matilda was there in the classroom. Now Miss Honey was just turning over certain pages and she looked up and said, "Well, Matilda, aren't you going outside with the others?" Now she asked Matilda, why aren't you going out with the others? Well, others have gone out. Why are you staying in the classroom? Matilda said, "Please, may I talk to you for a moment?" "Of course, you may." "What's troubling you?" the teacher asked her. "What's the problem?" "Something very peculiar happened to me, Miss Honey." She said, "Something very strange happened with me today." Miss Honey became instantly alert. Ever since the two disastrous meetings she had recently about Matilda, the first with the headmistress and the second with Mrs. and Mr. Wormwood, though she just recalled the two meetings which she had with Matilda earlier. One was with the headmistress she was with the headmistress, and the second was with when she was with her parents. So जब वो 2 बार पहले इससे मिल चुकी हैं, तब से ही she was just thinking about this girl. Miss Honey had been thinking a great deal about this child and wondering how she could help her, because जैसे वो 2 बार पहले उसको मिल चुकी थी, she had recognized certain qualities in her. Now she was trying to help this girl. तो तब से she was trying to help this girl, and now she got the chance. And now here was Matilda sitting in the classroom, looking particularly exalted and asking if she could have a private talk. Now she has got a chance. Now only these two people are there in the classroom, and she could see that Matilda was happy, looking happy, and she wanted to have a private talk. उसके साथ privately बात करना चाहती है Miss Honey के साथ Matilda. Miss Honey had never seen her looking so wide-eyed and peculiar before. So Miss Honey ने आज से पहले Matilda को कभी भी इस तरीके से, मतलब वाइड आइड मीन्स इतनी हैरान सी, पहले कभी नहीं देखा. "Yes, Matilda," she said, "tell me what has happened to you. That is so peculiar." कहती, मुझे बताओ ऐसा क्या हुआ जो बहुत स्ट्रेंज हो गया तुम्हारे साथ. "Miss Trunchbull isn't going to expel me, is she?" Matilda asked. "Because it wasn't me who put that creature in the water. I promise you. It wasn't. अब वो पहले सबसे पहले तो वो पूछती हैं कि मुझे हेडमिस्ट्रेस स्कूल से निकाल तो नहीं देंगी, बिकॉज मैंने तो उस क्रीचर को उस वाटर में डाला ही नहीं था. आई प्रॉमिस यू, इट वॉजंट मी, मैंने नहीं डाला था. आई नो, मिस हनी सेड. एम आई गोइंग टू बी एक्सपेल्ड? मिस हनी ने बोला, मुझे पता है. फिर उसने पूछा कि क्या मुझे निकालेंगे स्कूल से? I think not, Miss Honey said. The headmistress simply got a little overexcited, that's all. तो she said कि नहीं वो तुम्हें नहीं निकालेंगी, वो सिर्फ थोड़ी सी ओवर एक्साइटेड हो गई थी, इसीलिए she said so. Good, Matilda said. But that isn't what I want to talk to you about. बोली, okay, that's good. अगर मुझे नहीं निकालेंगे इट्स गुड, बट मैं सिर्फ यही बात नहीं करना चाहती हूँ आपसे. आई वॉन्ट टू टॉक समथिंग एल्स. What do you want to talk to me about, Matilda? I want to talk to you about the glass of water with the creature in it, Matilda said. You saw it spilling all over Miss Trunchbull, didn't you? वो बोली कि मैं आपसे सिर्फ ये बात नहीं करना चाहती, मैं उस ग्लास ऑफ वाटर जिसके अंदर एक न्यूट था, I just want to talk to you about that glass of water which spilled over, जो मिस ट्रंचबुल के ऊपर गिर गया था, मैं उसके बारे में बात करना चाहती हूँ. Didn't you? वो कितना आपने देखा नहीं था? I did indeed. वो कहती है, yes, मैंने देखा था. Well, Miss Honey, I didn't touch it. I never went near it. बोली मैंने तो उसको छुआ भी नहीं था, ना मैं उसके पास में गई थी. I know you didn't, Miss Honey said. You heard me telling the headmistress that it couldn't possibly have been you. और मुझे पता है कि तुम नहीं थे, और तुमने सुना भी होगा कि मैं हेडमिस्ट्रेस को बोल रही थी कि इट्स नॉट मटिल्डा. ये मटिल्डा ने नहीं किया, मिस हनी ने हेडमिस्ट्रेस को बोला था. But it was me, Miss Honey, Matilda said. That's exactly I want to talk to you about. वो कहती, मिस हनी वो मैं ही थी, मैंने ही गिराया है, यही तो मैं आपको बताना चाहती हूँ. Miss Honey paused and looked carefully at the child. I don't think I quite follow you, she said. बोली एकदम हैरान हो गई, तुम मतलब स्ट्रेंजली उसकी तरफ देखने लगी. एंड शी सेड, मुझे लगता है मैं समझ नहीं पा रही हूँ तुम क्या कहना चाहती हो. I got so angry of being accused of something that I hadn't done that I made it happen. कहती कि मेरे को इतना गुस्सा आ गया था कि जो काम मैंने नहीं किया है उसका मुझ पर पे ब्लेम लग रहा है, इसीलिए मैंने ऐसा कर दिया. I made it happen. मैंने ऐसा किया. You made what happen, Matilda? The teacher asked her कि तुमने क्या किया? I made the glass tip over. तो मैंने उस ग्लास को गिराया. I still don't understand what you mean, Miss Honey said gently. अभी भी मैं तुम्हें समझ नहीं पा रही हूँ कि तुम क्या कह रही हो. तुम तो अपनी सीट से उठकर भी नहीं आई. You did not even touch that glass, and you were very far away from that glass. How could you do that? हाँ, मिस हनी ने ऐसा बोला. I did with my eyes, Matilda said. मैंने इसको अपनी आंखों से किया. I was staring at it and wishing it to tip, and then my eyes went all hot and funny, and some sort of power came out of them, and the glass just toppled over. अब मटिल्डा उसको बताती है, मिस हनी को बताती है कि मैं इस ग्लास की तरफ गुस्से से देख रही थी, मेरी आंखों में बहुत गुस्सा था और मेरी आंखों से कुछ पावर निकली, इस ग्लास के ऊपर गई, and the glass toppled over, और ग्लास गिर गया. Miss Honey continued to look steadily at Matilda through her steel-rimmed spectacles, and Matilda looked back at her just as steadily. So दोनों क्या हैं, एक दूसरे को हैरानी से देखती रहीं. I am not still following you, Miss Honey said. Do you mean you actually willed the glass to tip over? तो बोली कि मुझे अभी भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा तुम क्या कह रही हो. क्या तुम ये कहना चाहती हो कि तुमने you made the glass tip over just with the power of your thoughts? Willed means with the power of your thoughts. Yes, Matilda said, with my eyes. वो कहती हाँ, मैंने अपनी आंखों से किया है ये. Miss Honey was silent for a moment. She did not think Matilda meant to lie. It was more likely that she was simply allowing. अब मिस मटिल्डा जो हैं, शी वॉज साइलेंट फॉर अ मोमेंट, एंड उनको लग रहा था कि मटिल्डा सच झूठ भी नहीं बोल रही है. उनको पता था कि ये झूठ नहीं बोलती है और ना ये झूठ बोल रही है. इट वॉज मोर लाइकली दैट शी वॉज सिंपली allowing her vivid imaginations to run away with her. बट उनको ऐसे लग रहा था कि वो सिर्फ अपने imaginations उसको बता रही है, शी इज़ जस्ट इमेजिनिंग कि ऐसा होता है. यू मीन You were sitting where you are now, and you told the glass to topple over it, and it did. बोली अच्छा तुम ये कहना चाहते हो कि तुम जहाँ बैठी हुई हो तुम यहीं पर बैठी हुई थी और तुम ही ने इस ग्लास को गिराया है. Something like that, Miss Honey. Yes. कहती हाँ मैं ऐसा ही कहना चाहती हूँ. If you did that, then it is just about the greatest miracle a person has performed in a long time. बोलिए अगर तुमने ऐसा किया है तो आज तक कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ है. It is a kind of miracle. It is a kind of miracle done by a person. A person cannot do this thing. I did it, Miss Honey. मैंने किया है. It's extraordinary, thought Miss Honey. How often small children have flights of fancy like this? She decided to put an end to it as gently as possible. Could you do it again? She asked kindly. वो कहती है कि मिस हनी जो थी चलो इसको ख़त्म करना चाहती थी, उसकी इमेजिनेशंस को ब्रेक करना चाहती थी, बिकॉज चिल्ड्रन दे जनरली दे हैव दिस काइंड ऑफ इमेजिनेटिव आइडियाज़. तो वो कहती है अच्छा ठीक है तुम दोबारा करके दिखा सकती हो. तो आई डोंट नो, मटिल्डा सेड, बट आई थिंक आई माइट बी एबल टू. वो कहती मुझे नहीं पता मैं कर सकती हूँ कि नहीं, बट मुझे लगता है कि मैं कर पाऊँगी. ओके. Miss Honey moved the now empty glass to the middle of the table. Should I put water in it? She asked, smiling a little. अब उन्होंने क्या किया, मिस हनी ने जो ग्लास पड़ा हुआ था उसको टेबल के सेंटर में रखा और बोली कि इसके अंदर पानी डाल दूँ. तो I don't think it matters, Matilda said. Matilda said, yes, आप डाल दो. We will then go ahead and tip it over. वो कहती ओके ठीक है मैंने इसके अंदर पानी डाल दिया, चलो अब तुम इसको गिराओ. It may take some time. वो कहती है टाइम भी लग सकता है. मटिल्डा बोलती है थोड़ा सा तो टाइम लगेगा. वो कहती है टेक ऑल द टाइम यू वांट, मिस हनी सेड, एंड आई एम इन नो हरी. वो कहती है ठीक है जितना टाइम लगता है तुम लगा लो, मुझे कोई जल्दी नहीं है. मटिल्डा सिटिंग इन द सेकेंड रो अबाउट 10 feet अवे फ्रॉम मिस हनी. अब सेकेंड रो में बैठी है. यू कैन सी हियर देयर डिस्टेंस. शी इज सिटिंग इन द सेकेंड रो. शी इज अबाउट 10 feet अवे फ्रॉम मिस हनी. नाउ but her elbows on her desk and cupped her face in her hand. Means देखो elbows उसने desk पर रखी हैं and her face she has cupped in her hands. अपने hands अपनी cheeks पर रखे हुए हैं. You can see in your books also you can see the position how she is sitting. And this time she gave the order right in the beginning. इस बार उसने शुरू में ही order दे दिया अपने मन में. Tip glass tip, she ordered. But her lips did not move and she made no sound. मन में ही वो बोल रही है टिप ग्लास टिप, लेकिन बोल नहीं रही है वो. She simply shouted the words inside her head. अपने दिमाग में ही जोर जोर से बोल रही है टिप द ग्लास टिप ग्लास टिप ग्लास. जोर जोर से ऐसे अपने माइंड में बोल रही है, गुस्सा ला रही है अपने आप को. And now she concentrated the whole of her mind and her brain and her will up into her eyes. अब वो क्या है, यही जो कमांड है, she is bringing it into her eyes, she is bringing it into her mind, her brain, and with all her power she was just trying to put this command in her eyes. And once again, but much more quickly than before, she felt the electricity gathering and the power was beginning to surge. अब क्या हुआ, पहले से भी ज़्यादा जल्दी क्या हुआ, उसकी आईज से वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और वो पावर निकलने लगी. And the hotness was coming into her eyeballs. उसकी eyeballs में वो hotness आने लगी. उसकी सारी जो ताकत थी, सब कुछ, उसकी power that was coming into her eyeballs. And then the millions of tiny invisible arms with hands on them were shooting out towards the glass. और फिर क्या है, उसकी जो rays थी, eyes से rays निकल रही थी. Millions of invisible arms, मतलब कि बहुत सारी rays जो थी, they started coming out of her eyes. And they started going towards the glass. And without making any sound at all, she kept shouting inside her head for the glass to go over. अब बिना shouting किए वो अपने mind से जोर जोर से command दे रही है, powerful commands दे रही है. And the rays are going. The rays are the powerful rays of her anger and force. They are going towards the glass and she saw it wobble. उसने देखा वो glass, you can see here, glass हिलने लग गया, है ना? And the glass wobble. She saw it wobble. इसको हिलते हुए इसने देखा. And then it tilted. Then it toppled right over and fell with a tinkle on the table top. फिर क्या हुआ? उसके बाद वो टेढ़ा हुआ, उसके बाद वो टेबल के ऊपर गिर गया. 12 inches from Miss Honey's folded arms. Miss Honey, देखो इस टेबल से, ग्लास से मिस हनी कितनी दूर खड़ी हुई हैं, और टेबल पर जो ग्लास था वो गिर गया. Miss Honey's mouth dropped open and her eyes stretched so wide you could see the whites all around. अब मिस हनी की जो है आंखें एकदम खुली की खुली रह गई, माउथ खुल गया, आईज एकदम वाइड ओपन हो गई. शी वॉज सो सरप्राइज्ड. शी डिडंट से अ वर्ड. शी कुडंट. कुछ नहीं बोली क्योंकि वो बोल ही नहीं पाई. शी वॉज स्पेलबाउंड. The shock of seeing the miracle performed had struck her dumb. ऐसा उसने miracle कर दिया था and she was just spellbound. She could not speak a word. She gaped at her glass, leaning well away from it now, as though it may be a dangerous thing. अब वो एकदम हैरानी से ग्लास की तरफ देख रही है और उससे एकदम दूर हो गई जैसे कि ये कोई डेंजरस सी चीज़ है. Then slowly she lifted her head and looked at Matilda. अब फिर उसके बाद वो मटिल्डा की ओर देखती हैं. She saw the child, white in the face, as white as paper, trembling all over, the eyes glazed, staring straight ahead and seeing nothing. अब उसने क्या देखा? मटिल्डा की eyes, they were wide open and she was trembling all over. उसका face जो था, it was transfigured. Face, her whole face was transfigured. Face का जो थी shape, मतलब ऐसे एकदम all the expressions were coming on her face, eyes round and bright, and she was sitting there speechless. She was sitting quietly, only the expressions were there on her face. Miss Honey waited, trembling a little herself and watching the child as she slowly stirred. Miss Honey wait कर रही थी and she was trembling a little herself. खुद भी काँप रही थी, मतलब ये हो क्या गया? And she was watching the child as she slowly stirred. child को उसको देख रही थी, मटिल्डा को देख रही थी जब वो धीरे से हिली. And then suddenly click went her face into a look of almost angelic calm. फिर एकदम से क्या हुआ? सब कुछ काम हो गया. Like Matilda stood up. Matilda खड़ी हुई. She said, I'm all right, she said and smiled. I'm quite all right, Miss Honey. So don't be alarmed. बोली Miss Honey, मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ. आप परेशान मत हो. I'm all right. I am all right. Don't be panic. Don't get panic. I'm all right. You seemed so far away, Miss Honey whispered, awestruck. तुम तो इतनी दूर बैठी थी. How could you do this? Oh, I was flying past the stars on the silver wings. Matilda said, it was wonderful. वो कहती है मैं तो I was just flying in the air. I was having silver wings. मतलब ऐसे लग रहा था मुझे तो पंख लग गए. So she was in fantasy. She was in imagination. Miss Honey was still gazing at the child in absolute wonderment, as though she were the creation, the beginning of the world, the first morning. मतलब क्या मिस हनी इतनी हैरान थी कि उनको लग रहा था कि जैसे कुछ क्रिएशन हो गया, जादू हो गया, बिगिनिंग ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. उनकी दुनिया ही एकदम से दोबारा शुरू हो गई. इट वॉज द फर्स्ट मॉर्निंग. उन्हें ऐसे लग रहा था कि मैं तो इस वर्ल्ड में पहली बार आई हूँ. मीन्स दीज आर जस्ट द फ्रेजेस, एक्सप्रेशंस बताने के लिए कि शी वॉज वेरी सरप्राइज्ड. It went much quicker this time, Matilda said quietly. Matilda बोला, इस बार तो और भी जल्दी हो गया ये. It's not possible, Miss Honey was gasping. I don't believe it. I simply don't believe it. She closed her eyes and kept them closed for quite a while. And when she opened them again, it seemed as though she had gathered herself together. अब क्या है, मिस हनी कहती आई डोंट बिलीव इट, मुझे तो विश्वास ही नहीं हो रहा. वो आइज क्लोज करके बैठ जाती हैं और जब उन्होंने आंखें दोबारा खोली तो उन्हें लगा कि मैं दोबारा से मतलब अपने आप को वो दोबारा से काम किया उन्होंने, ठीक है, और अपने ऊपर दोबारा से उन्होंने कंट्रोल पाया. Would you like to come back and have tea at my cottage? She said. वो कहती है अच्छा ठीक है, तुम इवनिंग में मेरे घर में आके चाय पियोगी? Oh, I would love to, Matilda said. Yes, मैं आपके घर ज़रूर आऊँगी. Good. Collect your things and I'll meet you outside in a couple of minutes. वो कहती है ओके ओके, अपना सामान उठाओ, मैं बाहर तुम्हें कुछ देर बाद मिलती हूँ. You won't tell anyone about this thing that I did, will you? मिस हानी को कहती है अच्छा. मिस हानी को बोलती मैम प्लीज़ किसी को बताना मत जो मैंने किया. आप बताओगी तो नहीं? मिस हानी सेड I wouldn't dream of it. मिस हानी सेड कि मैं कभी सपने भी नहीं सोच सकती कि मैं तुम्हारे बारे में किसी को ऐसे बताऊंगी. So that's all with the story. Hope you enjoyed the story. And children, listen to it again and again, because when you will be given the questions from in between, if you don't listen to it, if you don't read it yourself, you won't be able to answer those questions. Fine? Okay. Goodbye and have a nice day, children.